let's talk about our journey through grief. Journey through grief. We're going to be talking in the next few videos about some tools that we use in our grief and how those tools can help you. So be sure to stay tuned or subscribe to this channel. For today, we eventually come to our grief where there's a fork in the road, where we really have to make a choice and a decision, but that's way down the road. On the way to that, of course, we've got a river of tears to cry, and we've got paths that take us close to those tears or that veer away from those tears. But we also have a lot of psychological things that we have to address within ourselves, right? So, hello. There's times when we find ourselves in a barrier like this tree symbolizes in our grief, where we want to cross it and we just can't. We want to sleep and we just can't. We want to just get out of bed and work, but we just can't. We want to function and feel different, but it just seems like there's just no way around that, right? So again, we're going to address some of that with these tools we'll be talking about. And for today, if you get over one barrier, even if it's that you can do your laundry, why, that is a good day. You might not feel like it is. I sure didn't when I was in that stage, but if that's all you can do today, that's okay. Our goal is to do one baby step more tomorrow and the next day, and to do a little bit mindset changing as well. That's how we get through grief. But it's way easier if you do it with somebody else. I'm just telling you that right now. So let's keep talking about our journey. Sometimes it's real rough. Like, it's just dirt. We just feel like we're trudging in dirt, or that we're in mud, stuck in mud, and we can't get our hands or our feet out, right? We just are in the muck of our own thoughts, the muck of the grief journey, lots of things like that. And sometimes, we've just been in the forest of grief for a day, a week, a few months, whatever, and sometimes we come to a clearing. And we don't want to really recognize that clearing, right? Because that means we might be forgetting someone or something. And so if we have a good day, we kind of feel bad about it. I know those times. I had that guilt. It almost drove me to dark places. Anyway, I'm past all that, and I think you can too if you do the right things and, do what grief requires of you. So, like my dog here, when she passes me, she'll be running by me, right? She'll be running away from me. And some of us really run away from our grief. We run away because it's painful. We don't want to face it. We don't want to face what we think we did or we didn't do, because there's all those questions. And then there's the, depending on the association with the person, there's like, what did I do? What didn't I do to, influence the situation? Whether I wasn't a good caretaker, a good enough caretaker for him, or I wasn't this, or I wasn't that, or I was too much of this. We have all those kinds of questions, right? So, and then, one time, eventually we come to a bridge. We'll cross that bridge in just a sec here. In the end, what I found was to run right at my grief instead of run away from it, because I had to cross the bridge, and the bridge was I going to continue the way and in the misery I was? And there's certainly, there's a time for that. There's mourning time. There's trying to make sense of things time. But there comes a time when we make a choice, like the fork there back in the road a little bit ago, where we have to choose, are we going to go on like this and be miserable? Or are we going to face this grief, do what's right, deal with it, and then cross the bridge from, let's say, I'm going to use a Christian term here, death into life, right? And I did that. I had to make that choice. It took me many years until I was there to make that choice, where my tears dried up and I felt like I could not only be productive, but I also got to where I was called to do this kind of work to help others avoid the bad places I went to. But then, we might step back into the forest, and then we come out, and then sometimes we got across these little bridges, like Today I'm going to start taking care of myself. Today I'm going to eat right. Today I'm going to go to the doctor since I can't sleep and get something to help me. We got to take care of ourselves and our grief that way, right? So there are little bridges, and then, you know, there's the times when we come out of the hills. There might be garbage along the way, but we start climbing, and we start climbing out of our grief, and we begin to feel maybe a little bit better. And we get to the top of that hill, and something's waiting for us there. And what's waiting for us as we climb out, by reducing those periods between when grief hits and the intensity of those episodes, what happens is, what waits for us is a better life and a different life. And we can't believe it's a good life, or gonna be, because, you know, we lost our loved one and we're miserable, and we don't know how, we don't have a path for how to see going forward, right? So if that's you, you know, I know in my own experience, I certainly did feel that. I knew life would never be the same. I knew that I couldn't go on the way I was going, and I had to hit that fork and make that decision. And, you know, I carry my son, whom I lost, in my heart every day. But I can tell you that I've learned to integrate that loss, and I help other people learn to integrate that loss, because it's to the most terrible pain, right? So it's not going to go away. Time doesn't heal it. We just gotta slowly and at our own pace, and everybody's different depending on the relationship, make sense of all of that and do our work. Whether that's, you know, some people can do it by themselves, very few though, or with a counselor or a grief coach, or, you know, a minister or somebody like that. And that's when I really started to make progress, because my particular counselor was wonderful, and she just challenged me every time I came, not in a way that's like go, 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 but she gave me little assignments, little things to help me move the needle just a little bit. And that's the way grief goes. And then eventually we get to blue skies. Blue skies where we can feel again, live again, find purpose again, and really, you know, we really are a different person, and you'll find that you will relish life more. You will know what life consists of more. There will be many valuable things that you don't know yet that will come out of your grief journey. So I hope you found this at least entertaining, and maybe you could identify with it in certain areas. And I encourage you, if you got something here, to check out some of the other videos, even if you didn't get something here, because there is good content there. Subscribe to this channel and share it with somebody else, so that we can, you know, that's the only way this channel and this information grows, and we help people along with their grief. So I request that you do that, and thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.